As a senior care professional, I've seen it again and again. What starts as a small misstep can quickly spiral into a devastating fall. One day it's a slight hesitation before stepping off the curb. The next it's a trip that leads to months of painful rehabilitation. And often it begins with a silent, invisible threat, the gradual weakening of the legs. It doesn't arrive with sirens or dramatic warning signs. Instead, it creeps in quietly, stiff joints in the morning, needing help out of a low chair, grabbing onto handrails more often than you'd like to admit. But make no mistake, this is not just aging. This is a red flag waving right in front of you. If your legs are fading, your independence is next. And it happens much faster than most people expect. Here's the truth no one talks about. Leg weakness is not only the first sign of functional decline in older adults, it is often the beginning of the end of self-sufficiency. Your legs are your body's foundation. They are your anchor, your balance, your freedom. And when they begin to fail, everything else from your mobility to your confidence begins to unravel. And yet this terrifying trajectory is not inevitable. You don't need to sign up for expensive treatments or push yourself through exhausting exercise programs. You don't need to give up. Because the secret to keeping your legs strong and your independence intact may already be sitting on your dinner plate. What you eat every day holds the power to either accelerate your decline or slow it dramatically. In fact, by incorporating just 3 powerful food groups into your daily routine, you can dramatically reduce the risk of muscle loss, joint instability, and dangerous falls. Today, we'll explore the science behind these foods, how they affect your leg health, and the simple, practical ways you can integrate them into your life. This isn't about trends or hype. It's about real evidence-backed strategies for preserving strength, confidence, and freedom in your golden years. Let's begin with understanding the danger we face and why your legs fade first, why your legs are the first to fail, and what it means for your future. Have you ever wondered why walking becomes harder or why simple movements like climbing stairs suddenly feel like a workout? It's not a coincidence. The muscles in your legs, your quads, hamstrings, calves, and glutes, are the largest, heaviest working muscles in your body. They carry your full weight day after day, absorbing impact, propelling you forward, helping you stand, balance, sit, and recover from slips. But here's the catch. As you age, your body begins to lose muscle mass in a process known as sarcopenia. It's natural, yes, but it's also dangerous. Starting in your 40s, you begin losing approximately 1% of your muscle mass each year. By your 60s, this loss accelerates, and by the time you're in your 70s or 80s, you may have lost as much as 30 to 50% of the muscle you once had. And because the legs carry the greatest physical burden, they are the first to reflect this loss. This is why a once vibrant individual can suddenly find themselves short of breath after walking to the mailbox or needing 2 tries to rise from the couch. Weak legs are not just inconvenient, they're a serious medical warning. In fact, a 2021 study published in the Journal of Gerontology found that individuals with declining leg strength had a 2-fold higher risk of losing functional independence over a 5-year period. Another report from the CDC indicates that more than 3 million older adults are treated for fall-related injuries each year, most of which originate from lower body weakness and instability. These numbers are not just statistics. They represent real people with real lives, just like Margaret. Margaret's story, from housebound to ballroom dancing. Again, Margaret was 73 when she realized she was struggling to climb the stairs in her home. She'd always been independent, proud of managing on her own after her husband passed, but lately things felt different. Her knees wobbled, her steps slowed, and eventually she stopped going out altogether. It wasn't fear that held her back, it was her legs. When her daughter convinced her to see a senior mobility specialist, the diagnosis was clear: sarcopenia and early-stage osteoarthritis. But here's the incredible part. Within 3 months of targeted nutritional changes and moderate leg strengthening exercises, Margaret began to feel different. By month 6, she was not only walking without support, but had joined a ballroom dancing class at the local community center. What changed? She started eating for her legs. Let's take a closer look at the 3 essential food groups that made a difference for Margaret, and that can do the same for you. Food Group 1: protein. The silent pillar of muscle repair. Protein is the bedrock of muscle strength. Every time you take a step, rise from a chair, or lift your foot, microscopic tears occur in your muscles, especially in the legs. Your body uses protein to repair and rebuild those muscles, making them stronger and more resilient with every movement. But with age, your ability to process protein becomes less efficient, which means you need more protein, not less. Unfortunately, most seniors fall short. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that nearly 40% of adults over 65 do not meet the recommended protein intake, and that shortfall is directly linked to increased frailty and decreased mobility. To stay strong, aim for 25 to 30 grams of protein per meal. Think of it not as a number, but as a prescription, just like medication, only tastier. The best sources of high-quality protein include lean meats such as chicken, turkey, and beef, fish and eggs, dairy products like Greek yogurt and cottage cheese, plant-based options such as lentils, chickpeas, tofu, and tempeh. Start with breakfast. Swap the toast and jam for scrambled eggs and Greek yogurt. Add grilled chicken or tuna to your lunch salads. Enjoy a lentil or bean stew for dinner. Even snacks can be protein-powered. Try almonds, boiled eggs, or a low-sugar protein shake. And don't forget timing. Spreading protein evenly across your meals helps the body absorb it more efficiently, supporting continuous muscle repair and preservation throughout the day. George's story: reclaiming stability with breakfast. George, 67, had been active all his life, but after a mild stroke, his energy plummeted, and so did his confidence. His legs felt like lead, and he worried constantly about falling. When his doctor reviewed his diet, they found George was barely getting half the protein he needed daily. Within weeks of adopting a high-protein meal plan, starting with eggs and cottage cheese at breakfast, his energy levels surged. More importantly, his balance returned. Today, George walks a mile every morning and has returned to hiking with his grandson on weekends. Protein is not just a food group. For seniors like George, it's a lifeline. Food Group 2: omega-3 fatty acids. The inflammation fighter. Leg weakness is not only a matter of muscle loss, it's also about inflammation. Joint stiffness, swelling, and pain can sap your desire to move, and over time this leads to more weakness and further instability. Omega-3 fatty acids are powerful tools to combat this. Found primarily in fatty fish and certain plant-based sources, omega-3s have anti-inflammatory properties that reduce joint pain, support muscle recovery, and enhance neuromuscular communication, your body's ability to send signals between the brain and muscles. One landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that omega-3 supplementation in older adults enhanced muscle protein synthesis by over 30%, when combined with adequate protein intake. Sources of omega-3s include salmon, sardines, mackerel, and herring, chia seeds, flax seeds, walnuts, and hemp seeds, fish oil or algae oil supplements. Don't like fish? No problem. Blend chia seeds into your morning yogurt. Add ground flaxseed to your oatmeal or grab a handful of walnuts as a midday snack. Supplements are also a safe and effective option, especially if approved by your healthcare provider. But remember, omega-3s aren't just about pain relief. They support long-term structural integrity, improving both muscle flexibility and joint durability, two key factors in leg strength and fall prevention. Food Group 3, calcium and vitamin D, the unsung duo, behind bone and muscle stability. While muscle mass and joint flexibility are essential to staying strong, they can only serve you well if your bones can support them. That's why the third food group, calcium and vitamin D-rich foods, is vital. These two nutrients work hand in hand to preserve the strength, density, and stability of your skeletal system, especially in the legs and hips. As we age, our bones naturally lose density. This process is called osteopenia, and if left unchecked, it can lead to osteoporosis, a condition where bones become so weak that even a minor fall or misstep can result in a fracture. According to the National Osteoporosis Foundation, 1 in 2 women and up to 1 in 4 men over 50 will break a bone due to osteoporosis. But calcium alone is not enough. Without sufficient vitamin D, your body cannot absorb or utilize the calcium you consume. That's what makes this duo so crucial. Vitamin D also plays a direct role in muscle contraction and coordination, reducing your risk of falls while supporting overall mobility. Here's where seniors often face a silent threat: vitamin D deficiency. With age, your skin produces less vitamin D from sunlight, and if you're indoors most of the day, your exposure may be minimal. This leads to weakened bones, unstable muscles, and greater susceptibility to injury. Top food sources of calcium include dairy products such as milk, cheese, and yogurt, leafy greens like kale, collard greens, and bok choy, fortified foods like plant-based milks, orange juice, and cereals, canned fish with soft bones such as sardines or salmon. For vitamin D, your best food options are fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and tuna, egg yolks, fortified dairy, and plant-based milk products. However, because vitamin D is harder to obtain through diet alone, supplementation may be necessary, especially during winter or in regions with limited sunlight. The most effective form is vitamin D3, and your healthcare provider can guide you on the appropriate dosage after a simple blood test. Linda's story: the hidden deficiency that stole her balance. Linda, 70, lived a quiet life and enjoyed her morning walks until her legs began to feel shaky and her balance grew unreliable. A series of near falls scared her into visiting her doctor, who discovered that Linda had a severe vitamin D deficiency. Her calcium intake was fine, but without the right absorption mechanism, her bones had become dangerously fragile. With medical supervision, she began taking vitamin D3 supplements and adjusted her diet to include more leafy greens and fortified dairy. Within 3 months, her energy returned. By 6 months, she had resumed her walks and started a light strength training class. Linda regained more than her balance. She regained her confidence. Bringing it all together, a blueprint for leg strength and long-term independence. Now that we've covered the 3 essential food groups, protein-rich foods, omega-3 fatty acids, and calcium plus vitamin D, it's time to build a simple, realistic routine that supports lifelong leg health. Here's a sample daily structure. Breakfast: 2 scrambled eggs with spinach protein, plus leafy greens. Greek yogurt with chia seeds, protein plus omega-3. Fortified orange juice, vitamin D plus calcium. Lunch: grilled salmon salad with kale and olive oil. Dressing omega-3 plus calcium. A slice of cheese or a small yogurt on the side. Calcium plus protein. Dinner: lentil stew or lean beef with roasted broccoli. Protein plus calcium. A cup of fortified almond milk, vitamin D plus calcium snacks. A handful of almonds or walnuts, protein plus omega-3. Cottage cheese with sliced fruit, protein plus calcium. Even small adjustments can compound into significant improvements over time. If preparing meals like this feels overwhelming, consider batch cooking or using simple ingredients that can be prepared quickly. Consistency is the key, not perfection. But food alone isn't the full answer. Supportive habits to amplify the effects of your nutrition. To truly protect your legs, you must also incorporate healthy daily practices. These don't need to be intensive or exhausting. They simply need to be consistent and smart. 1. Daily movement. Walking for 20 to 30 minutes a day improves blood flow to the legs, stimulates muscle engagement, and maintains joint range of motion. If walking isn't feasible, chair exercises and resistance bands can also make a major difference. 2. Hydration. Muscles rely on water to function optimally. Dehydration leads to fatigue cramps and increased fall risk. Aim for at least 8 glasses of water per day more if you're active or live in a hot climate. 3. Sleep. Your muscles do their most important rebuilding work at night. Poor sleep weakens muscle tissue and accelerates fatigue. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of high-quality rest to maximize your nutritional gains. 4. Posture and balance exercises. Gentle practices like Tai Chi yoga or even mindful standing can help maintain alignment, stability, and coordination, all of which play vital roles in preventing falls and leg deterioration. A broader perspective. Your legs reflect your life. The legs are not just mechanical structures. They're the vessels that carry your purpose, your joy, and your presence through the world. Whether it's walking down the aisle at your grandchild's wedding, dancing to your favorite song, or simply walking independently to the mailbox, these are the moments that define dignity and autonomy. Weak legs don't just threaten physical health, they diminish emotional well-being. They steal freedom. But with knowledge, attention, and consistent care, you can protect what matters most. Looking ahead. Your next step starts today. It's never too early or too late to start rebuilding your strength. What you eat today can either nurture your legs or weaken them. It's your choice. By committing to a few foundational dietary changes supported by simple daily habits, you can take meaningful control over your mobility, independence, and vitality, no matter your age. Let's recap the key food groups. Protein-rich foods preserve muscle and enable repair after everyday movement. Omega-3 fatty acids fight inflammation and support joint and muscle health. Calcium and vitamin D protect your bones and enable muscle contraction and balance. This approach isn't a diet. It's not a temporary program. It's a long-term investment in yourself, in your freedom, in your future. Closing reflections and advice from the field. From years of working with older adults, I've learned that the difference between decline and resilience often comes down to awareness and action. Most people don't act until it's too late, but you're not most people. You're here reading this because you're ready to take control. Start small. Add one of these key foods to your next meal. Make a promise to yourself that your strength, independence, and dignity are worth the effort, because they are. And you deserve a future where you move confidently, stand tall, and live fully. If you found this article helpful and want to continue learning how to protect your health, preserve your independence, and thrive in every chapter of life, we invite you to join us. Please like this article and subscribe to the Longevity Secret channel, where we share expert-backed insights, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you live stronger, longer, and better. Your support helps us grow this community, and together we can redefine what aging truly means.